The New Hampshire primary is tonight for the Democrats. What does it mean moving forward for the winner and for Joe Biden, who most definitely will not be the winner? Everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. And this is your afternoon brief. For those of us in West Texas, it's a cold, dreary day, and who knows, maybe we'll see a little snow tonight, maybe a little bit of sleet. Meanwhile, in New Hampshire, they'll be casting ballots as they have been all day long, and they'll be counting those ballots at the end of the day. Hopefully, we'll actually know who the winner is tonight. Unlike what happened in Iowa, the disaster in Iowa with the Iowa caucuses, this one a primary, and it's widely expected that Bernie Sanders will win the New Hampshire primary tonight. Most likely, Pete Buttigieg will come in second place. But there is always a possibility of a big surprise, and I think the biggest surprise would be Amy Klobuchar. And where Amy Klobuchar finishes, she could finish anywhere from fourth to third, maybe even challenge Pete Buttigieg for second place if the so-called Klobuchar momentum is real in New Hampshire. Who knows what will happen? I anticipate that Pete Buttigieg will come into second place in New Hampshire, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Klobuchar comes in third. I think that she's going to surprise a lot of people, and I think fourth place and fifth place is going to be pretty close between Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden. You know, the problem for Elizabeth Warren is that her campaign is making little to zero news. It's not making news the way Joe Biden's is by being a flaming disaster. But it's not making news for being on the way up. It's just kind of there. That's the Elizabeth Warren campaign. It's there, and that's about it. For Joe Biden, it's going to be interesting to see where Joe Biden falls. Joe Biden could end up in, again, anywhere from third to fifth place. And it would be quite something if he ends up in fifth place. The Biden campaign is already wrapped up. They've left New Hampshire. They're moving on to South Carolina. They believe South Carolina will be the firewall for Joe Biden. And I actually don't think it will be. I think that Joe Biden, obviously, he's going to focus a lot of attention in the next few weeks on South Carolina. I don't even think that he's going to challenge hard for the Nevada caucuses. I think that he's going to be challenging hard for South Carolina and trying to win the African-American vote there in that state. But recent polls have shown Bernie Sanders is starting to catch on fire in South Carolina, and it would not surprise me at all. Listen, the media, once they sniff that you're injured, once they see blood in the water, they go after you. And I think what you're going to see is a media assault against not only Joe Biden, but probably Mike Bloomberg as well as we get closer and closer to Super Tuesday. I think you're going to see the media go after Bloomberg. I think the media is going to go after Elizabeth Warren and definitely after Joe Biden. I think the media is going to write off Joe Biden, and that's going to hurt his chances in that state. You've already seen nationally where Bernie Sanders is starting to pull ahead of Joe Biden nationally. I think that's going to be a trend that continues unless some of these candidates can get some real body blows in on Bernie Sanders, and so far they have not been able to do that. So watch for a real fight take shape in South Carolina. I think right now, if I had to put money on it, I don't think Joe Biden will actually win South Carolina. I think that he's going to be so hurt by losing, the disaster in Iowa, what he has not done in New Hampshire, and I think he's going to be hurt by what happens in Nevada as well. And I think people in South Carolina are going to look elsewhere. They may look at Bernie Sanders again. They may look at an Elizabeth Warren or an Amy Klobuchar, continue to see her rise in the polls as the more moderate candidate, the anti-Bernie candidate. One thing is for sure, the DNC is scared as hell that Bernie Sanders is going to win the nomination, and they're going to do everything they can to stop Bernie Sanders. The problem is, A lot of voters like Bernie. A lot of the Democrat voters like Bernie. There's a Dallas Morning News piece, and I'll discuss this more on maybe on the Friday video or on the Thursday video. Probably the Thursday video. Is America ready for a Democrat socialist? The Dallas Morning News out with a piece. The headline is America ready for a Democrat socialist? I will say this. I don't believe so. I don't believe America is ready for a Democrat socialist. I don't think Bernie Sanders could defeat Donald Trump. Right now, they're all disasters on the Democrat side, and Trump just keeps getting stronger and stronger. I don't see any of these people beating Donald Trump, but at the same time, I preface it by saying, don't underestimate Bernie Sanders. He's got grassroots support. He has fervent supporters out there. And he has people who truly believe it's time to make everything free in America, and that the evil rich are to blame for everything that has gone on in the United States. So that's something I'll get to a little bit later on, probably on the Thursday afternoon brief is what I'll talk about that. We had somebody on the YouTube channel yesterday who said, they asked the question, hey, what do you think about the idea of Republicans going and voting in Democrat primaries? That's actually a subject I'll get to tomorrow, unless there's a huge breaking news story. But I'll talk about that tomorrow in the afternoon brief. Enjoy the rest of your day. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you on Wednesday morning.